Welcome to Occam's Razor Gardening, Cooking, and Canning. This is my every other day bread baking recipe. And if you're like me, you probably don't like to knead. That is, knead your bread. Kneading bread is something that can get painful as you get older and you get arthritis in your hands. So of course, any recipe that calls for no kneading, I love that recipe. And this is such an easy bread recipe, very, very easy. So first thing you're gonna need is get yourself a bowl that's big enough to hold some bread that you wanna make, and grease it up. I always grease mine up with butter. You can use whatever you want. You can use lard, it's up to you. Of course, you don't really need to grease up the bowl. You can still scrape your bread out. It's just easier if you do it. And I use butter because I like butter, and butter tastes wonderful. Next, what you're gonna wanna need is some yeast. I've heard tell that you can just substitute this for baking soda if you'd rather. Now, you'll only need about 3 grams. Ooh, too much. There we go, 3 grams. Next, you're going to need 9 grams of sugar. So when you do this by weight, you just can't get anything wrong. Nine grams. Next, I'm going to need 360 grams of flour. Actually, let's do the water. Zero the scale. Too much. Right, 300 grams. Next, we want 360 grams of flour. Zero the scale. 360 grams of flour. Now, this is your bread whisk. This is a fantastic invention. You'll see how quickly this works whenever you make your bread. Now, I want to mix my flour and my salt. And for this, I just use my little find that I had at the used furniture place, where the volunteers work, where all the used furniture and used kitchen appliances are. And the used clothing, and the used art. I'd say about maybe a good third of my kitchen implements I found secondhand. Like this thing here. You just can't get anything like this. Now mind you, of course, I'm not sifting the flour because there's anything bad in it. I'm just using it to help mix up everything. Helps air out the flour a little bit. And of course, the flour that I use while I make my bread and I sift it back through this, I use it for making bread, or I use it for making gravy, or I use it for coating meat when I'm gonna fry it. All right, so now we've mixed all our flour, the yeast, and the salt, and you will see how quickly this works. Look at that. Now mind you, I'm doing this under the camera, not really at a good angle. But this water and this amount of flour will absorb it all. And even if you have a little bit of powdered flour left over in your bowl after, you don't have to worry about it, because it'll just get absorbed into this flour, meat, bread, butter, no, into this bread, future bread. Now this will clean really easy. I suggest you clean it as soon as you're finished making your bread. Right, finish off by putting a wet tea towel over top. There we go. Now, let it sit for 18 to 24 hours. And we'll pick it up from there. It's the next day, and we are ready to make our bread. Let's have a look at how the bread raised. Oh, look at this. A nice little mess here. Now it all just did rather well. Okay. So, since I recovered a lot of the flour that I use, I also use this flour all the time. Just put it back through my sifter. And then I need to put some flour on my board for my bread. Now you want to preheat your oven at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. For your large ovens, they say to preheat for about half an hour. I have a small little pressure oven, Wolfgang Puck pressure oven my mother gave me. And what I do is I use that, and of course I don't need to preheat it for as long because it's a small unit. But what you want to preheat is your Dutch oven, as this is Dutch oven bread. So the Dutch oven is in the oven, getting preheated. Oh yeah, all right. Let's just pour this mess right on here. All right, and I'm going to throw a little flour on top. Stretch it out. Okay, I want to fold the bread in on itself. And then I like to use parchment paper. I get about 3 or 4 uses out of each one when I make the bread. Take my bread, just dump it right into the paper. Next, you want to lame your bread. You don't need a fancy lame tool. It just so happened that when I bought my bread whisk, it came with a scraper and a lame tool. And I love this lame tool. Now they say you must at least score it once. But I like to score it several times. You can use a sharp knife. Remember that this is very, very sticky. There we go. Okay. Put this to the side. And our Dutch oven is ready. Now I have a little grill on the inside that I use to help elevate the bread. You don't have to use that. If you don't, I found that the bread gets a bit of a hard crust on the bottom. That's all right. It's bread. Okay, just like that. So now you want to break your bread for 21 minutes. Well, 20 minutes. They said to bake it for 20 minutes and then take the lid off and bake it for another 10 minutes. Now you will have to get used to your own oven. And I found that with mine, with the recipe that I make, if I do 21 minutes with the lid on and 12 minutes with the lid off, I get it just perfect. So we'll be back once the bread comes out of the oven. What I also like to do at the 12-minute mark, or if you're just making it for the first time, should be your 10-minute mark when you remove the lid. So I like to do something else. I just like to slap a little butter on the bread. Oh yeah, okay, let's put that back in. All right, the bread is ready. There we go. It's got a nice ridge at the bottom. Get another use out of this. Voila. Occam's razors. Overnight bread, no kneading, very easy to make. And after it's done, I put it out on a rack, let it cool off. You don't want to store it in a plastic bag right away because it'll get all humid and then your bread will mold. If you need to put it in a bag, put it in a paper bag. But once it's cooled, I found that this oven to tableware works wonderful for keeping my bread nice and soft and not dry. Especially for this bread. You've seen how much water is in it when you make it, and the moisture in the bread is very prevalent when you're eating it. It's absolutely delicious. You can add some other things to it. You can use different types of flour. I've used bread-specific flour and just all-purpose flour, and you know what? I didn't really find much of a difference at all, except in the price for the flour. All right, this has been Occam's Razors bread. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.